Hello my dudes, my name is Tiffany. Welcome back to my series, Internet Analysis. I make videos about all kinds of topics. Thank you for being here. It's midnight and this is much later than I would usually film, but you know, the grind never stops. Gotta stay hustling. Actually, that's relevant to the topic of today's video. I wanted to discuss our toxic obsession with productivity and so-called hustle culture, workaholism, our lack of work-life balance. It's a lot. It's gonna be a good video. This topic was inspired by my last video about MLMs, which by the way has been very well received, so thank you to all of you who have watched it. But in that video, I talked about how MLMs promote this girl boss kind of lifestyle. Basically, if you work really hard, you will be successful, you can achieve anything. And that sentiment is actually pretty similar to the American dream. The American dream is a set of ideals in which freedom includes the opportunity for prosperity and success, as well as an upward social mobility, achieved through hard work in a society with few barriers. Sorry. Basically, if you work hard enough, you will be successful, you can rise from nothing and become very wealthy. Unfortunately, I think the American dream, much like that MLM girl boss, you're gonna be making 6 figures a month narrative, is not actually super achievable for most Americans. But still, Americans believe in meritocracy. Meritocracy is a political system in which economic goods and/or political power are vested in individual people on the basis of talent, effort, and achievement, rather than factors such as heredity or wealth. I'm sorry. Again, it's just a little funny to me. Shout out to Wikipedia. But anyway, you know, the most hardworking, talented, and intelligent people are the most successful, right? Well, whether we have a meritocracy or not, we don't. People still want to work hard. They want to prove their worth and their abilities to themselves and to the world. Even when we see unqualified or underqualified people in positions of power, we still believe that we have the opportunity to follow our dreams and get to the top, or at least live a comfortable life if we work hard enough. I mean, it would be so depressing to think that an entire lifetime of hard work could lead nowhere, right?
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it.
So yeah, we still believe in the American dream. So again, as I mentioned, this video is going to cover a wide variety of topics related to work. This is work to me. But first, I want to start with hustle culture. We've probably all seen those Instagram accounts or Ty Lopez YouTube ads.
Here in my garage, just bought this new Lamborghini here. But you know what I like a lot more than materialistic things? Knowledge.
Rise and grind, the grind never stops.
Get up earlier, stay longer, work harder, fail again, never ever quit. A lot of these Instagram accounts post kind of basic, inspirational, motivational quotes, weirdly over pictures of lions. Very, very often it's lions. We get it, you want to be an alpha. These accounts also share success stories of millionaires and billionaires, you know, started from the bottom, now we're here. Classic. The content is usually aimed at aspiring entrepreneurs. I get it, especially in this economy and this job market, things seem very unstable, so the thought of being able to find success working for yourself is very, very tempting. These accounts are all about escaping the rat race, and these type of people hate nothing more than the thought of working a basic office job. 9 to 5? F that. I'm gonna make myself rich, not someone else. Their messaging is all about, you don't want an ordinary life because you're not ordinary. You won't settle. You want a 10-car garage full of Lambos. You're gonna be the next Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, or Shark Tank guy.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, a lot of the content that I've seen isn't actually about starting your own business or how to run your own business. But still, more importantly, this content is about the mindset, the millionaire mindset, the success mindset. In this way, it's very similar, again, to MLMs. And as I mentioned in that video, MLMs tend to target largely women, while this entrepreneurial content seems to be more targeted at men. Work hard, then work harder, maintain a very positive mindset, fake it till you make it, use the law of attraction, obsess about your goals, which are, you know, financial freedom, living a luxury lifestyle, inspiring others, etc. A lot of the ideas are the same, but the presentation is a little different. As some commenters on the last video noted, the MLM girl boss narrative can be a bit patronizing. Like, again, we are women Thank you. But still, this general concept of being your own boss does motivate people. I can understand why people like using those kind of terms because they like to celebrate seeing women in positions of power. But again, let's not infantilize ourselves. Let's not minimize our leadership. We are bosses. We are leaders. We are CEOs. That's it. On the other hand, the hustle content for men is very loud and aggressive. Some guy is always yelling at you like this.
You put too much in it to quit now, and the problem with some of y'all is you want somebody else to support your dream. But this is my time, this is my moment. Tomorrow, ain't no such thing as tomorrow.
But here's my point. Hustle culture has a big overlap with workaholism in general and that idea of toxic productivity. In the US, it is weirdly common for people to brag about and feel really good about working a crazy amount of hours per week. Oh, I work 60 plus hours a week. I'm exhausted. I'm always busy. I'm at the brink of mental breakdown, but I am grinding. We definitely glamorize workaholics because if work equals success, then someone who dedicates their whole existence to work must be very successful, or at least has the potential to be someday. A day has enough hours, you just have too many excuses. My body wants more sleep, but my pockets want more money. It's a very self-sacrificial kind of perspective, literally I'm gonna work myself to the bone and brag about it. I'll sleep when I'm dead. That's nice, but your brain can't really function without sleep, so I'd recommend it. LinkedIn also has a lot of this workaholic type of content, this hustle content, but it's more focused on the corporate side. I mean, why else would you spend your time on LinkedIn?
Commitment is working on a Sunday when it's your birthday because a client wants a project delivered 2 times faster. And in the picture, he has this do not disturb sign thing. He's basically just saying is it the second coming? Am I on fire and I don't realize it? Don't bother me.
Now here's the thing, I do not mean to make fun of anybody. This content can be a bit corny and that's why I'm laughing. But I don't want to make fun of anybody for having dreams and wanting to work hard. Generally, that is a great thing. Having a good work ethic, fantastic. But this obsession with work and constant productivity can be very, very toxic. Dun, 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 dun. And it's not just these so-called hustlers who are feeling the pressure, everybody is feeling this pressure. People feel compelled to work overtime to either keep up with their coworkers or to meet their boss's expectations. A 9 to 5 can easily become a 5 to 9, especially including long commutes. But as I said, people brag about how much they work. They are proud of that because again, we associate working hard, putting in the hours with success. People are constantly mentioning how busy they are. Oh, how are you? Busy, exhausted. So busy, so much on my plate. It's fine though. It's fine. But really, people get burned out, depressed, anxious, or even physically sick because this amount of work is so demanding and exhausting that you just can't really keep it up. Or at least it's very, very unhealthy to try to do so. And even worse, this work-centric mindset doesn't end when we're done with work, it follows us home. A lot of people check and answer emails at all times. We are expected to be constantly available. Some people even bring home work and continue working in the evenings. Some people have side businesses or projects that they want to work on after their 9 to 5, so that's more hours that they have to put in to work. Some people even work an extra gig, like driving for Uber, to try to earn extra income. And in general, a lot of us feel really guilty when we're not being productive. This intense work culture has made us feel like we are only good when we're getting things done. So even in our free time, we feel compelled to be productive and check things off of our to-do lists or clean the house or work out, just anything that feels productive. Feels like you're using your time wisely because you wouldn't want to be wasting your time or being lazy. God forbid you spend a night binge watching Netflix. And now it's time to give a shout out to today's sponsor, which is Audible. Oh my God, I'm a real YouTuber. This is an iconic moment. But speaking of productivity, you can use Audible to listen to books like this so that you can learn and stay on your grind. Just kidding. I mean, if you're into that, you can do that. But I personally like to use Audible to relax. So I've started an audiobook called Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, which was highly recommended by a lot of people on my Instagram. And best of all, it's narrated by Lin-Manuel Miranda. I could listen to his voice all day. Audiobooks are perfect for the many hours that I spend commuting on the subway or cooking dinner, or when I want to listen to something before bed because I'm scared of sleeping when it's too quiet. So to you Amazon Prime members, during the month of July, there's a special offer. You can start an Audible membership and save 66% on your first 3 months. So your first 3 months, you pay $4.95 per month, and after that, it's only $14.95 per month. Every month, you get 1 free audiobook and 2 free Audible originals. Audible has an insanely huge collection, so you will certainly be able to find endless, amazing options. Visit audible.com/tiffanyferg or text my code to 500-500 to get started. Thank you, Audible. Now back into the video. Let's talk about work-life balance. Most of this video is relevant to the United States because that is where I live, that's what I'm most familiar with. But I think that a lack of work-life balance is pretty common all across the world. Many people live to work rather than working to live, and a lot of times it is not by choice, it is a matter of survival. We work really hard to pay the bills, but then we have such little free time to actually enjoy life. It's such an obvious thing to say, but it really is messed up when you think about it, how much time we put into working, sometimes at jobs that we dislike or even hate, and then we spend so little time doing things that actually make us happy. Sometimes people work harder than they necessarily need to by choice, for their future. So they say, I'm gonna work really hard right now and for the next 30 years so that when I retire, I can enjoy financial freedom. But it's like, that means you have to work really, really, really hard for the next few decades just so you can chill when you're in your 60s. Shouldn't the American dream be about working so that you can enjoy living? People also work hard for their families. You know, as a parent or a provider, you will sacrifice yourself for the people that you care about. But it's terribly ironic that you have to work so hard to pay the bills and put food on the table. And again, you have such little time left to spend with those people that you love so much. A lot of people even have to work multiple jobs just to get by. So, you know, there are people working 60, 70, even 80 hours per week, sometimes with multiple part-time jobs. So they're not even getting the benefits of a full-time job, even though they're working way more hours than that collectively. You know, hustle culture says work smart, not hard, but so many people don't have the choice. There are so many systemic issues, and our work-obsessed culture and the combination of all of that makes it really, really hard, if not impossible, to step back from work. That's really a luxury that you can only do if you can afford to. So I'm about to share some information, but I just wanted to connect all the dots to make sure this video made sense. Basically, I really don't like the idea that hustle bros kind of promote that, say, if somebody isn't trying to follow their dream and start their own business, that somehow they're not working hard enough, because there are so many people who work way harder than even CEOs of billion-dollar companies, but they're barely surviving. So there are a lot of systemic issues and barriers and factors that prevent people from following their dreams. It's not as simple as work harder. How are you going to tell somebody who works 70 hours a week that they're not working hard enough? Anyway, the beginning half of this video was kind of about personal choice and how people can choose to work really hard or focus on their goals and stay motivated. But the second half is kind of about, again, the systemic issues and what our economy is like here, and everything from low wages to lack of benefits can prevent people from being able to advance in the ways that they might like to. And finally, you know, capitalism is just exploitative, you know? I am very critical of capitalism in a lot of my videos, as you may have noticed, and sometimes people ask me to make videos about socialism or communism or other economic systems, and someday I will, but for the sake of this video, not being a million years long, I'll keep it at that for now. So now I want to compare the US to some other countries in terms of our work habits and the hours that we spend at work, because this is pretty illuminating. In the US, we consider a 40-hour work week to be standard because of the 9 to 5 Monday through Friday schedule, but a lot of people work more than that. There is actually no set maximum on the number of hours that employees can work in the United States. Today, 77% of Americans work more than 40 hours a week, and one estimate said that the average American full-time work week is 47 hours. And that's a lot more than people from other countries. The average American employee puts in 260 more hours a year than the average British worker, and a staggering 499 hours more than most French citizens. So to compare that, let's look at the work-life balance in some other countries. Here are some examples from the Netherlands. According to the OECD, the Netherlands had the best work-life balance in 2018. In the Netherlands, less than 0.5% of employees work very long hours, which are defined as over 50 hours per week. Unlike the US, that again has no maximum level of hours, in the Netherlands, an employee can legally work a maximum of 12 hours per shift and a maximum of 60 hours per week. The majority of full-time jobs in the Netherlands are between 36 to 40 hours a week. So the US does have a pretty high average of work hours in our work weeks, but we're actually not even at the top. Japan, for example, is pretty well known for its very intense work culture. Many would actually go as far to say that the Japanese are often working themselves to death. Nearly 1/4 of Japanese companies require employees to work more than 80 hours of overtime a month. And the Japanese aren't taking enough time off either. A study found that Japanese workers on average didn't use 10 of their paid vacation days, and 63% of Japanese respondents felt guilty for taking paid leave. But again, Japan's not even number one in hours worked. According to the OECD, Mexicans work the most hours out of any country every year, 2,246 on average. That's 467 more hours than the average American every year, and for less than a fifth of the pay. Now let's look at some other factors in American work culture. An interesting thing is that our long workdays are actually often unproductive due to mandatory meetings that interrupt your work. And apparently having open kind of office floor plans actually makes it more difficult to work because you're more likely, again, to be interrupted by people around you. So then when you feel like you're not being productive enough, you feel compelled to stay at work even longer, which is where a lot of this overtime comes in. And then throughout the workday, Americans don't really take breaks. A lot of Americans actually eat their lunch at their desk and continue working, and some people even skip lunch. Meanwhile, in France, Spain, Greece, and other countries, lunch breaks can last an hour or more and rarely take place in front of a computer screen. So you may be saying, okay, so yeah, we work really hard, but at least we get vacations, right? Actually, the US is the only advanced economy that doesn't guarantee its workers any paid vacation time. So way at the bottom of this list, the United States has 10 public holidays, but those are not guaranteed to be paid. So then what about other types of leave, like parental leave? How does the US compare to other countries? The United States doesn't guarantee any paid leave to new parents. New parents in the US are guaranteed their jobs for 12 weeks after the arrival of a new baby, but they do not have to be paid during that time. And to those of us in the US who are kind of used to this, you know, that's a big yikes, but we're like, oh, well, it's fine. It's fine. Or maybe you'll say, you know, that doesn't mean that no companies offer this. And you're right, some companies are very generous with their benefits, such as paid parental leave, paid vacations, unlimited sick days. That would be great, and you would be very lucky to get benefits like that. But unfortunately, with no mandates and no requirements of paid leave or paid vacations, a lot of companies choose not to offer those benefits. But specifically, let's touch on parental leave and why not having guaranteed paid parental leave is such a big problem. It's completely detrimental. So imagine your parents. Congratulations! Having a new baby is stressful enough, and financially it is a big strain. And not having guaranteed paid parental leave forces parents to make some really tough decisions because it's like, okay, I want to spend time with my baby, I want to bond with my baby. I would ideally have 2 parents at home to be able to manage the workload of caring for a brand new baby. So then, you know, you have to choose. Maybe one parent goes back to work while the other stays home with the baby, but that can be really difficult too. Again, you're still relying on one income. Or maybe if you're lucky, you have grandparents or other family members who are available and willing to help. Sometimes moms have to go back to work before they've even really healed or even rested from giving birth. This should be a time where you can appreciate your family and get to know your little infant. And yeah, it's stressful and exhausting, but it just sucks that people have to worry about, you know, paying the bills and not losing their jobs. Again, connecting this back to the main question, are Americans just workaholics? Do we love to work? I don't think that a lot of people would choose to work as much as they do. And in this situation, are people putting work over their kids? It's like, again, it's not by choice, it's by necessity. So anyway, let's see how the rest of the world compares. The US is basically the only major country that doesn't guarantee any paid parental leave. As you can see, these other countries vary in paid maternity leave versus paid maternity and paternity leave. But wow, it is just insane that we just have 0. A specific example is Sweden, where parents are given 480 paid days per child to be shared between them and can be used anytime before the kid turns 8. That is so generous and so flexible and so helpful. It seems like a whole different world. I'm not even a parent, but I'm just like, wow. Incredible. Speaking of Sweden, many of the Nordic countries, being Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Iceland, are often ranked as having some of the best qualities of life for factors including work-life balance, education, healthcare, and benefits like paid leave. These countries also have some of the shortest work weeks in the world. For example, Denmark, average hours per week, 33. Flexible work schedules are common and paid vacation time is ample. Danish workers average 33 hours a week and have a right to at least 5 weeks of paid vacation. What a dream. And the thing is, even with shorter work weeks, their work days are more relaxed than most Americans. So while American workers rarely step outside for a break, in Sweden, workers often enjoy a daily breather called fika, don't come for me, an extended coffee break during which employees can gather and socialize. This sounds luxurious to me. Is that sad? I don't even have like an office job, but I'm still like, wow. Many offices offer 2 breaks, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. Studies have shown that taking breaks throughout the day helps to increase creativity, regain focus, and retain information. Who would have thought having a break helps you function better? But anyway, it's also more typical of countries in Europe to actually stop working when they leave work. So again, as I mentioned earlier, Americans are very, very guilty of bringing their work home by choice or by necessity. And apparently one of the worst American work practices in the eyes of foreigners is the tendency to send and answer emails after work hours have ended. For example, France has what's called the right to disconnect laws, which basically allow them to negotiate their availability after work and not have to be responding to work-related emails. Also, Germany has had quite a few companies that have made similar measures. Volkswagen has set its internal servers to not route email to individual accounts between 6:15 p.m. and 7 a.m. A German automaker has a program that deletes all incoming emails to an individual when they are on holiday, so that not only will a holiday be left undisrupted, but the worker can return to work without the looming stress of a packed inbox. I love that. I would love to not look at my email more often. But seriously, how great is that? They get to go to work, focus hard for 6-ish hours, and then they get to go home and actually turn off their work brain. Maybe enjoy their life, enjoy their loved ones, have hobbies. What are those? And the thing is, data actually shows that having more time off and less work hours actually makes people more productive because they actually have a chance to rest and reset instead of getting burnt out, depressed, anxious, and sick. So a lot of companies around the world have been trialing these 6-hour workdays at the same pay rate as an 8-hour workday to see, what happens to productivity and how the employees respond. A guy named Grant said, "I'd be willing to bet that in most jobs, people would get more done in 6 focused hours than 8 unfocused hours." And then they talk about the importance of getting into your flow. So again, while a lot of people in American workspaces are interrupted often throughout the day, it makes it really hard to get into what they call the flow, which is like hours of uninterrupted focused work where you're just like in the mode, in the groove. You're just feeling it, okay? If you get to be undisturbed and really focused, then obviously you can get deeper and deeper into your work and probably be more productive. They also say that modern organization sabotages productivity. Many of today's organizations sabotage flow by setting counterproductive expectations on availability, responsiveness, and meeting attendance, with research by Adobe finding that employees spend an average of 6 hours per day on email. Another study found that the average employee checks email 74 times a day, while people touch their smartphones 2,617 times a day. Is that real? Employees are in a constant state of distraction and hyper responsiveness. So this video was a lot. I know that. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments below what your work life is like. What's your work-life balance? Have you ever heard of it? Have you ever tried it? But anyway, I think it's important, especially in response to this hustle culture, hyper toxic productivity where we feel like we constantly have to be doing things and working. getting things done. It's important to remind ourselves that we deserve breaks. We should not feel guilty about relaxing and resetting. In fact, we need to do those things in order to do our best work and be able to perform and remain physically and mentally healthy. You do not need to work all the time. Do not beat yourself up if you don't, get enough things done on your to-do list. You don't always need to be available. And I hope that we make some changes in terms of, paid leave and vacation time, because I know a lot of people are suffering and they could really use a break and they deserve it. Okay, if you watched this whole video, thank you so much. Make sure you guys follow me on Instagram for some mediocre pics. And once again, thank you to Audible for sponsoring this video. I feel like such a good YouTuber. Audible. Me? Who, me? Wow. Okay, can you tell I'm loopy? It's, again, 1 in the morning now, and my grind is over, at least until I need to edit this video. But my feet aren't asleep. That's really good. This is like the first time this has ever happened. Okay, that's all. Okay, thanks, bye.